Access dismissed the Hunter scandal as Russian deceit?
Well, we know that this whole smear on Joe Biden comes from the Kremlin.
Russian disinformation or foreign disinformation or even campaign disinformation, period.
This is most likely Russian propaganda.
Prosecutors do not open investigations based on disinformation provided by Russian intelligence.
Sorry, guys. The FBI and Justice Department just shot that theory down. No surprise, since even the dolts who signed that letter claiming it was a Putin plot, including the Keystone Cops of National Security, Clapper and Brennan, claim there's no evidence. So once hired to ferret out disinformation, Clapper and Brennan now roll their own. I guess the media will jump right on this and focus on the big man. Was it a quid pro quo? How Hunter sought millions for pop in exchange for whatever China wanted? Not so. Asking media to give equal time to Biden's real scandal after 4 years of pushing the bogus Trump ones, that's like asking CNN to cover their legal analyst Zoom habits. The media is happy to chase a woman nodding to Trump in a town hall, but not any story that exposes their journalistic shortcomings. So outraged over 2016, they put America through hell, unleashing a nonstop parade of unsubstantiated dreck, starting with the Steele dossier and culminating in diverting resources with a sham impeachment as COVID spread. Their obsession cost lives. And now they refuse to cover this one story about how the Bidens put our nation's interests up for sale. How dare you waste our time? We have to track down a cop who wore a MAGA hat, a sorority girl critical of BLM on Instagram. That's the real story. Well, the scandal isn't just what Hunter did for Dad and what Dad knew. It's also how, once again, the media decides what truths to bury. No wonder Americans despise the press. If only Hunter had come out and endorsed Trump, then he'd be toast. All right, the two of us are here in New York City, holding down the fort, as they say. And
That's right.
The other fivers are in a place called Nashville, known as the Athens of the South. They have their own Parthenon there, Dana. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Well, you're going to have to leave.
Brett Baer knew it. See, he's nodding along.
Don't try to...
I did know it.
Oh, you did? You read the fact sheet.
Yeah, I did. And by the way, I just want to say the French existentialist look today is really good.
I thought it was Robert Wagner again.
Would you like to come up to my apartment and listen to me recite my poems over an acoustic guitar?
Do you smoke a pipe?
Yes, I do.
It's
and not Hunter's pipe, by the way.
Okay.
Hey, well,
hey now.
Let's get back to the story.
See?
Okay. All right. To you, Mr. Baer, what do you make of the DOJ saying this isn't a Russian disinformation campaign?
Well, listen, that's a big part of this story. And I think you're going to start to see, other news organizations start to cover this more intently as this drips out. I mean, the president has teased that there's a big story to come from the Wall Street Journal. I'm hearing similar things, whether it's today, tonight, tomorrow. And we're going to see where this story goes. But you had Major Garrett with CBS tweeting out the DOJ, FBI believing that it's not Russian disinformation. And obviously you had what the DNI said on our air with Maria Bartiromo about that, too. I think that at some point it's too much not to cover.
Yeah. You know, Dana, I am almost going to go on Twitter to see how many people are typing tick, 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 boom. I doubt there are any.
Yeah, so all those people that were just letting us know that there was a big bombshell to come, and then it rarely ever did. I've been on Twitter a little bit today. Mostly, no, I did not see that, Greg. So I could be the one that checks for you. I do think that tomorrow night, regardless of whether media wants to cover it, President Trump is going to cover it. They've signaled that the president is going to bring this up, even if the debate moderator doesn't. And again, I go back to this idea that I find it a little bit strange that the Biden team has not done more to at least answer some of it, even if it was on background, because one of the things that Mike Pence did so effectively in the vice presidential debate is he drew Kamala Harris out on court packing, because the Biden-Harris team had refused to talk about court packing so much that by the time you had 100 million people watching, then he was able to lower the boom on that. So I think that you could see something similar tomorrow night, and then everybody will be covering it.
Yeah. You know, Juan, I would imagine that you are overjoyed to find out that it's not the Russians, because you would be relieved that they weren't tampering with our elections, and this is a good sign.
Sometimes I just have to laugh because I think it was on the front page of every newspaper 2 days ago how the Russians continue to mess around with our elections, and Russians were indicted, that GRB group or whatever, for not only getting involved in the U.S. elections in 2016, but the French elections, and that they are the prime actors on the global stage in terms of cyber espionage. But, to me, all of this story is being blown up unnecessarily by a Trump campaign that's drowning, and they're trying to just flail and drag everybody else down with them. So I'm going to say this is a silly story. I'm glad that people want to go on and on, but I just like to just point out some facts, Greg. Today we learned that, in fact, President Trump had a bank account in China and paid more taxes in China than he paid in the United States. I mean, that's a fact. That's what happened today. And today we learn again that the president, the great deal maker, can't get Mitch McConnell to agree on a stimulus plan to help the American economy at this juncture. So he'll do anything, including, make up a conspiracy tale that everybody follows. But to me,
no one's denied those emails. He didn't make up those emails.
This gets back. No, all of this gets back to who? Who does it get back to? Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani and the intelligence agencies had to warn the White House that he was being used by the Russians, that he was a danger. And now, today, Rudy Giuliani is caught in a very, very sad pose, apparently, in the latest Borat movie. Maybe he should be busy being shamed instead of trying to, concoct conspiracy tales.
Well, I guess Borat shows you how easily people can get into a compromising situation. So I don't think you just helped Hunter's case. Jesse, what are your thoughts?
Juan knows the computer's real. I mean, Hunter signed the receipt. The FBI signed the subpoena. We've seen both signatures. And the emails are not handwritten notes,
Jesse,
Juan. These are time-stamped emails with the addresses that match.
I hope President Trump is listening to Jesse Waters and follows your advice in tomorrow night's debate. Go down that rabbit hole. You'll be the only one there with him.
You're the expert on rabbit holes.
You don't get to push fake news about Russia for 4 years, get caught, and try to pull it again. No one's listening to that anymore. The emails show that there was influence peddling from the VP while he was in office, and that there was a kickback scheme arranged by the son from Chinese bankers. I don't feel good about the son of a VP selling access to his dad and his dad using taxpayer money to push policies that get his son rich. The American people don't like that. You know what else, Juan? The president was accused of awful things. He was spied upon. He was investigated. He turned over thousands of documents, had his family, his campaign, and his cabinet testify, do depositions for years, and they found nothing. Yet they have some evidence on Joe for doing something super shady. Joe says it didn't happen and then gets censored by the big tech. That's when you know you got him. Because what's the deal now? Anything that hurts Joe Biden before a campaign is Russia disinformation? Was Tara Reade Russian? Were the riots all summer? Was that Russian? So now if you have a story that you run that's bad for Joe, you have to have your copy editors at Twitter check it out. You have to send the Hunter hard drive over to Silicon Valley so they could flesh it out. That's not how these things work. Clapper and Brennan, who lied about collusion evidence, and then they were telling the truth about how there was no evidence of collusion behind closed doors. We're not going to fall for that again. It's over, Juan. We got it.
Let me tell you, Jesse, didn't you hype the Dunham report? Where's that? Didn't you hype unmasking? Where's that? How many times do you go down the same road with this guy, Jesse? You're going to get hurt.
I'm getting hurt, Juan. You're not going to hurt me, I'll tell you that.
All right. Yeah. I feel like I should.
Have you seen the fall leaves here? The foliage. Beautiful this time of year.
I believe I should smoke a clove cigarette in the break and tell you about my poetry.